what I really think has been amazing for this, technology and Zoom that we're able to do and meet whenever we want all around the world. So that's fantastic. So I am a coach, trainer, meditation guide on Urban Yogi, the app. I have got a PhD in equanimity, in barriers to equanimity. So I'm a trained mindfulness consultant, really. But I work and teach at a university in England. So I've just been sharing some meditations with the app Urban Yogi, and then they've invited me to do this small session. So thanks for having me here. I was going to do self-compassion today. I think it's a really important topic in today's society. If you look at all the social media, all the news, it's often doom and gloom, a lot of divisiveness, and a lot of blaming others or blaming self. And so it can often feel like quite a heavy negative atmosphere. So for me, self-compassion is a perfect antidote, really, to this kind of divisive time in terms of how we might react to things. With all meditation, it's relational, so it's how you are in relation to whatever it is, phenomena, thoughts, images, etc., something you see on the news. So without self-compassion, we run the risk of being a bit tight and restrictive towards ourselves. And this is a big barrier in terms of our own personal development. And if we are new to meditation or are used to meditation, meditation is not so much what we gain, but what we lose. And, a lot of people say that they lose anxiety or fear. And actually, if there could be some form of end goal or motivation behind why we're doing it, I would probably imagine that for most of us, it's to be a nicer person too. So to extend, the qualities within us and make them a bit more universal. So in order to do that, we've really got to have self-compassion first in order to try and be a nice person to everyone else. Because what we might encounter is barriers, it's easy to be compassionate to people we like, not so to the people we don't know or don't like. And that's complicated when we're trying to embark on a journey of self-transformation. So it's a really nice and valuable foundation is self-compassion before we get into other compassion practices for others. It's not to say that, you just have to do self-compassion, then, compassion for others. It's all experiential. You could all benefit from different forms of meditation at different times. Obviously, mindfulness is a huge field at the moment in Western psychology. And this is because, first of all, we need to stabilize the mind. It's no good trying to, go on these big visualization meditations and analytical meditations if at first we don't have some form of stability and mental clarity. And that arises with mindfulness practice. So that's really important too. So I like to think of it as a little three-tiered approach. First, you've got mindfulness, stabilization, then you've got self-compassion, and then you've got compassion for others. So, and of course, they all, to some extent, incorporate bits of the other. And when we do this meditation really shortly, we'll first of all spend a few moments stabilizing the mind, plowing the field so it's able to attend to the practice as best possible. So does anyone have any questions, or shall I just get on with the meditation? I'm happy to just begin. If I don't have any questions on the chat, I'll just start. It's always a bit odd when you're talking to random squares that can't speak. I'm not sure if we're actually communicating or if it's just me talking blah blah blah. I'm just gonna go. Okay, so So if you'd like to close your eyes now and find a comfortable sitting posture, or you may be lying down, it's okay. And just take a few moments to create a dignified posture, which is a straight back, not too straight that you're immediately inviting tension, not too loose either, inviting sleep, dullness. And if you're sitting on a chair, just have your palms placed on your knees, head slightly bent forward. And just begin by taking some long, deep breaths through the nostrils. Really grounding ourselves in this present moment. Seeing if we can follow the cycles of our breathing. As we breathe in, know that we're breathing in, and as we breathe out, know that we're breathing out. And if any thoughts or distractions arise in our minds, see if we can attend to these without beating ourselves up, as if we're placing an arm around our thoughts, shoulders, and gently escorting our attention back to our breathing. Releasing distraction. Reminding ourselves of our practice and returning to the breath. Maybe observing any subtle sensations as we inhale around our nostrils, and observing how these change as we exhale. And if any sounds arise, rather than trying to seek out what the sound is, if it's a good sound, a bad sound, simply allow the sounds to be. As if the sounds are playing with our eardrums rather than we listening to them. So we're really grounding ourselves in this moment. Our body feels relaxed, heavier, yet our breathing is enabling us to feel refreshed. And if anything distracts us, it's okay. With kindness, simply release the distraction and return to the breathing. So we get grounded in this moment of following the breath, allowing sounds to be, even if the sound is just my voice. Allowing your mind to settle. And see if we can tend to any experience, either in the mind or body, to do with our senses or thoughts, with an open curiosity, non-judging. There's no such thing as a good experience or a bad. Allow whatever arises to simply happen. Now, when we have some form of stability, let's see if we can mentally conjure up an image of ourselves and place that image in front of us, maybe 1 or 2 meters front, in our mind's eye, as best possible, in a clear picture of ourselves. Maybe us in our present form, or from the past, or an idea of us in the future. So we're seated in front of us now. Now we're going to do a practice called taking and giving and taking. First of all, it involves recognizing that we have suffered, or we've encountered pain, psychological distress, emotional distress, maybe heartbreak, grief. All of humanity shares the same fundamental experiences. Unfortunately, one of those is sadness and pain. So take a moment to remember some of the more pertinent times in your life that have been difficult or challenging. And now I want you to imagine as if on our in-breath we are taking on the suffering of ourselves. The person sitting in front of us, which is us. It's as if we're breathing in all this person's suffering. In the form of a thick, dark, smoky sensation. But then as we breathe out, we're transforming this into a light, cool, healing. So we breathe in, pain, suffering, the form of symbolic, dark, smoky liquid. And as we breathe out, it's changing into a light, cool, healing quality. And if you like, with each breath, you can focus on a specific ailment, whether it's health or sickness or a memory. And if it's too difficult, don't try too hard, and don't be upset at yourself. Don't revert to beating yourself up over not being able to heal. Maybe think of something less painful or significant. Breathing in our pain as if it's completely lifting from ourselves in front of us. We're taking it through the nostrils, into the atmosphere, and it back into our present selves, full of darkness, sorrow. But then we're extending a joyous wish to ourselves by transforming this darkness with an out breath full of love, joy, best wishes. And we're allowing this to flow from our nostrils back into the nostrils of ourselves sitting across from us. And this lightness, this white light, replacing all the darkness, and filling up the body full of whiteness, goodness, sense of soothing, calm. And be gentle with yourselves. You don't want to invoke any past trauma, if there is any, or to get too weighed down with the details. Taking on our own suffering and replacing it with healing is an act of kindness, self-compassion. And with the idea that we're now free from whatever it was that's causing us distress. And that going forward, we now will attend to the world with greater care towards ourselves. In this, we're then more easily enabled to be compassionate towards others and to help them with their pain, distress, sorrow. So it's as if ourselves sitting in front of us, maybe 1 or 2 meters away, arise to us in memory of all our pain, but we've now replaced it with a cool, healing lightness. Breathing in dark smoke, breathing out white light. Taking on the burden of our past suffering, embracing it with a tender care, and breathing out with purpose, healing purpose. And a commitment to live life more meaningfully, whatever that might be. Okay, so maybe allow that person now sitting in front of us to merge with our existing selves. Two people and no more. And we have this sense of presence again, whole stillness. We have merged our past selves. And now release all concepts of our own self and just take a few moments to breathe in and out. Just following the breath again. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes and end the meditation. And I hope it wasn't too heavy. That was a meditation on self-compassion. So if you have any questions or just how was the experience for you, you can let me know in the chat. Good or bad?
Thank you, Joey, for the session. Now I request everyone to unmute yourself and start the video so that we can interact one-on-one with Joey. If you have any questions. So I'll give a brief introduction, brief bio about Joey. Joey is a meditation teacher. Uh, he is working on a PhD focused on barriers to equanimity, and he's also a lecturer in health and social care and trained in mindfulness with wellness consultancy. So uh, I have a question for you, Joey. Uh,
Sure.
yeah, so it's about equanimity, which is your study. So
Mm.
how can a person practice equanimity or cultivate equanimity regardless of the circumstances he is in?
Yeah, it's that this is important for a longer discussion, I think. But I've heard of something called the GI Joe fallacy. Have you heard of that?
No.
And it's the idea that knowing is enough. I think GI Joe was a cartoon in the 90s, I think, and he used to do a lot of, oh, now we know we can improve, or now we know it's all sorted. So as if all knowledge is the only thing to help us. And actually, it's a fallacy because it also needs to be experienced. You need to transform the knowledge into actual experiential qualities. And one such method is meditation. So for equanimity, there's a whole knowledge base and intellectual idea about it. But then to put it into practice, it's working with that, but also actually cultivating equanimity through meditation practice. So
Apart from
it's both.
meditation, do we have any other techniques?
I think it's a less attachment towards your own sense of self. So we all see the world through categories: what we like, what we dislike, what we find neutral, and based upon these, we then interpret the world and you know become attached or averse to whatever it is that we experience. But without that awareness of our own categories, then we're pretty much just always grasping onto whatever we like and trying to avoid what we don't like. So it's heightened awareness towards your own self and the way that your mind projects onto things, and recognizing that this comes from our own unique conditioning from our parents, carers, schools, whatever it is, culture, society, media. So we're actually, in an extent, quite vulnerable people in that we formulate these very rigid likes and dislikes and then act on them. But actually, a lot of these could be, are just self-fabricated. And so it's kind of, you need to become aware of your own sense of self. It's a heightened awareness towards all things. So no matter what happens, the idea is we can respond more equanimously with it, rather than immediately go angry or immediately go jealous or whatever it is. It's kind of a self-protective, emotional, regulative tool, skill really, that's developed over time. Yeah,
Thank you for that.
it's okay. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Everyone's quiet.
Uh,
But yeah,
you
thanks
can
for having
ask
me.
one questions directly to Joey, Annie, Mia, Selena. Feel free to join.
Maybe they're still meditating.
Yes. So no questions. So we'll just end the session.
Mhm.
And you can find Joey on urbanyogi.live. Uh, we have chat from Selena. Thank you for leading this meditation. And Mia is also saying it was relaxing. Managed to reset my mind for a good 30 minutes.
Thank you. Thanks, Selena and Mia. That's great.
So you can book Joey for one-on-one sessions as well as a group session on urbanyogi.live. And And you can find pre-recorded sessions of Joey on Urban Yogi app, which is available on Play Store as well as App Store. So thank you, and I'll email the recording to you if you want to revisit this meditation again.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rahul.
Thank you, Joey.
Bye.
Love to have you again.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.